Well, Charlie, here in New Orleans, it's shaping up to be another hot and...
Because AIDS is infecting women at a really alarming rate. Yet from the first days of the AIDS crisis more than 10 years ago, research and information has largely focused on men. And the unique problems suffered by women with AIDS were largely unexplored.
And that is to some extent changing. And we're going to find out how in our next half hour when we wrap up the first week of our month-long series, The Healthy Woman, Taking Charge of Your Body and Mind. Each day, we've been focusing on different issues that affect women's health, and we will do so all through the month of October. First, we go to the news, and leading the news at this hour, the president's CIA nominee responds. Mike Schneider has that story. Other news of the day, Michael?
Good morning, Charlie. Morning, everyone. Robert Gates tries one more time to make senators believers of his side of the story. Gates has sat quietly for the past couple of weeks, listening to his former colleagues charge him with slanting intelligence reports when he was the deputy CIA director, exaggerating the Soviet threat and ignoring information from his agents. Well, yesterday, the tables turned once again. The CIA nominee was back to tell his side of the story. ABC's John Martin has details.
Gates attacked his critics. He listed 20 instances in which he said subordinates or political opponents had misread his actions or misunderstood his intentions. 11 times he said,
"The allegation is false."
Gates promised, if confirmed, to reform the agency's analytical methods and restore its morale. But Democrats remain concerned that Gates would be a partisan director of the CIA.
This committee and the Congress is looking to you for accurate, responsive, and unfettered, unpoliticized reports on intelligence. And that crowd over there, Sununu, the president, and everybody else thinks they own you.
The fact is, I have no problem with the concept and the idea of laying my job on the line to say this is the way it is. And if you don't like it, that's tough. You may go ahead anyway, but by golly, we're going to tell you exactly what we think.
One key questioner this morning will be Senator Nunn of Georgia, who says he is undecided. Last night, he rated the effect of Gates's performance.
Those who were already in favor of him were reinforced today. They feel better about it. Those who were opposed to him were not dissuaded, and those who were undecided are, I believe, still undecided.
So, despite sustained doubts by his critics, Robert Gates appears to have repaired some of the damage he suffered and, for the moment, avoided the erosion of votes among his supporters in the committee. John Martin, ABC News, Washington.
Subject of another nomination right now, Supreme Court nominee Judge Clarence Thomas goes before the full Senate now. Things are apparently looking up for Judge Thomas. On the first day of debate yesterday, a 12th Democrat came out in support of him. That apparently gives him a majority of support. The final vote is set for next Tuesday. On the other side of Capitol Hill, the House Bank is going out of business. That is because some members have been writing checks without having the money to cover those checks. 8,000 bad checks in the past year alone, we're told. House Speaker Tom Foley says the Ethics Committee will investigate the problem. Meanwhile, this creative financing scandal is drawing some protests.
Mr. Speaker, it's time to take the mask off this institution. It's time to expose the check-writing scandal I like to call Rubbergate.
Some freshmen in the House actually want to publicize the names of the House members who have been writing the bad checks. They say they do not want to be blamed for the sins of the others. Also making news this morning, the Organization of American States is sending a delegation to Haiti today. 9 diplomats who will try to persuade the leaders of the military coup there to step aside for President Aristide or else face world economic sanctions. President Aristide has been making the rounds in the U.S. looking for international support. He was at the UN last night saying that Haiti's trouble should be the concern of everybody in the world.
I invite the representatives of...
Tell all of mankind that this threat to democracy in Haiti also constitutes a threat to democracy everywhere throughout the world. Because what is occurring today in Haiti can occur elsewhere as well.
President Aristide is going to the White House today. President Bush says he wants to express support for Aristide in person. And then there were five Democrats who now say they want to be president. ABC's Cokie Roberts has more on the official and unofficial list of potential Democratic candidates.
Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton yesterday became the latest Democrat to join the presidential sweepstakes.
I proudly announce my candidacy for President of the United States of America.
Clinton's joined a fast-filling field of Democratic hopefuls.
I'm Tom Harkin, and I'm running for president.
Iowa Iowa Senator Tom Harkin's announcement meant that former Massachusetts Senator Paul Tsongas no longer served as the sole Democratic standard-bearer. Soon, Virginia Governor Douglas Wilder joined the fray. Next came Nebraska Senator Bob Kerrey.
Will you help me now become the next president of the United States of America?
Still talking about running, former California Governor Jerry Brown. And still tantalizing the rest of the field with the will he or won't he question, Jesse Jackson.
Vote your hopes and not your fears, America.
If Jackson does declare, he becomes the automatic front runner, at least as long as his name is better known than any of the others. And he creates problems for these struggling newcomers, cutting into the black vote for Wilder, the Southern vote for Clinton, and the liberal vote for Harkin. In 1988, Jackson used his second-place finish to wring concessions from the convention, new rules that would make it easier for him to stay in the race until the end. Even though Jesse Jackson would start this presidential campaign ahead of the game, his friends say he's unlikely to run, preferring instead to pursue his TV career. But Jackson's keeping his plans to himself and keeping the wannabes looking over their shoulders to see if Jackson's about to overshadow them. Cokie Roberts, ABC News, Washington.
And finally, we have a story now about a man who tried to steal 2 lovebirds from a pet shop this week by putting the birds down his pants. It might have worked if the clerk in the store in Hicksville, New York, hadn't heard the birds chirping as the man walked by. There was a very short chase, very, very short. Turns out the birds are okay, but the bird napper, the pet shop owner, says it had to hurt him because lovebirds can really bite. Joan?
Touching it, Mike. I'm not even getting close to it. But Spencer Christian, I'm sure he...
Period of 8 weeks, 3 hostages, 2 Britons and an American, were released, and Israel freed 51 Lebanese detainees in exchange for information on the fate of 2 missing Israeli servicemen. But lately, expectations may have dimmed. Israel and Hezbollah, the organization believed to be an umbrella for the various groups holding hostages, are now accusing each other of reneging on their agreement. A key figure in these negotiations is Yuri Lubrani, Israel's chief hostage negotiator. He's here in New York. He says not for a new round of negotiations, but to attend an event at the American Society for Technion, an Israeli school, and it's nice to have you with us. You're nice to stop by while you're here.
Good morning to you.
No meetings at all at the UN, or this really is for Technion?
Certainly not at the UN, but meetings, yes.
Informal meetings while you're here?
Totally, yes.
Is there now a deadlock? For a while, it seemed so optimistic, and the words were all positive, that the entire situation could be resolved. Lately, from both sides, there seem to be rather pessimistic words.
Well, I think that one should consider this in the light of what the nature of the negotiations are. They are very, very complex and extremely sensitive and sometimes very acrimonious negotiations. They're not direct, they're indirect. They're through the good offices of the Secretary General of the United Nations. And obviously, this is, as I said, this is not a Swiss clock, neither is it mathematics. It has a lot to do with gut feelings. We are working on assumptions which may be faulty or maybe not quite the way we think they are. But by and large, I think we have an initiative, a very sound initiative. We have full confidence in the ability of the Secretary General of the United Nations to move on this initiative. He has done so. He has proved that he has been able to achieve some results, and we hope that it's going to continue.
Well, it's not mathematical. It's not science, obviously, as you point out. But is there now a snag?
Well, I think that there is what you in baseball would say a timeout. We have a situation where we feel that the ball is in the court of the other party, and I think this matter has to be sorted out before we can proceed, because we were as it were promised, and a commitment which was not fully fulfilled.
The information on your missing servicemen.
Yes, indeed, and we believe that this is something which has to happen before anything else proceeds.
Well, but of course the chief of the Hezbollah is saying that no, the holdup is not on our side, it is the Israelis who are not releasing as many detainees as they had promised.
Well, if you were negotiating, what would you say if you were chief of Hezbollah? I mean, you want to get as much out of us for as little as possible on his part.
What's it going to take to break the deadlock?
Well, I think it's a matter of time. I think the Secretary General will have to do some more work before something proceeds. I am optimistic.
Always. You would have to be, I would think, in these negotiations.
Well, on principle, yes, anybody who's dealing with this has to be optimistic.
But there was, as I understood it, in the grand scheme of things, there were to be stages in all of this. The first stage was to be the release of some of the Lebanese detainees that were in the hands of the Israelis in return for information on the servicemen and the release of some Western hostages. That was to move to a second stage. And I'm really wondering do you have any sense of when we get to that second stage, which was to be the full release of information?
You mean time-wise?
Yes.
Never do I quote time estimates. It's not done in the Middle East. Things have to happen before something moves, and sometimes it takes a little more time. It takes a little more effort. But I think on the large, what I think breeds in me this optimism, careful optimism, is the fact that I think all parties concerned, whether they are on our part, Secretary General of the United Nations, certainly I think the other party, for its own good reasons, want this thing over. And once you have that will, I think there will always be a way found after threshing out problems. We have a problem now. The other party is reneging on a commitment. We feel that if that is over, we'll move ahead.
Mr. Librani, what's the last step? When will we know this is over? And in other words, what I'm asking is, what are each side holding as their last cards? For instance, will the last people to be released, the Americans, be Terry Waite, and then for the British, Terry Waite, and for the United States, Terry Anderson?
I wouldn't know. I think if you ask me, the last people to be released will be our soldiers. I think that what will happen is that the exchange of both the Western hostages, all of them, and our soldiers, will be followed by a complete release of whoever we have as detainees and as prisoners from Lebanon. We are committed to do that once the whole procedure will come to completion.
Including Sheikh Obeid?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
But still no sense of time. I mean, because when we talk of time, you know, we can be talking weeks, we can be talking months, or the head of the Hezbollah even was saying this will be years, 15, 20 years. Now that probably is negotiating rhetoric, but you wonder what the time parameters may be.
I believe that we are not talking about years. We may at best be talking about a few months. At worst talking about a few months. From our point of view, it can happen tomorrow. The whole thing, the whole caboodle.
Yuri Librani, great pleasure to have you here. I hope the whole caboodle is taken care of very quickly. Thank you for being here.
Nice to be with you. Thank you very much.
It is coming up now in 16 minutes after the hour. A new work from Christo, the artist who wraps islands in pink. You remember him? He has a new work, and we'll look at that one. Good Morning America.
Into the phrase visions of grandeur. And as Steve Fox reports, with his latest effort set to open this coming Tuesday on 2 continents, not even his critics will be able to rain on Christo's parade.
He has wrapped the Pont de Neuf Bridge in Paris, dressed the islands of Miami's Biscayne Bay in hot pink plastic, ran a white fence through Marin County, California, and draped a curtain across a valley in Colorado. Christo Javachev is an artist who thinks big, and this is his biggest project yet.
This is how they are 40 feet apart.
1,760 yellow umbrellas, 2 stories tall, popping up along California's Tejon Pass, just hours after 1,340 blue ones unfurl in Japan. It will cost $26 million for a 3-week showing, and then it will disappear. To many, the question is it art or lawn furniture?
1 umbrella is not the work of art. 2 umbrellas is not the work of art. The 3,100 umbrella in these 2 places in the world, and that proportion, that colors, no, it is the work of art.
The whole thing?
All things.
Even the colors are important. Blue to go with the verdant Japanese countryside.
The background will be a green forest. It's not
yellow for the baked California hills. Convincing the locals was a study in cultural differences. The 452 landowners in Japan were a lot easier than just 26 California ranchers.
In the Japanese mind, art is not only painting on the wall or bronze statue. Art is also flower arrangement, putting stone on the garden, dry branches of the tree. And for him, so completely understandable that umbrella can be considered part of art experience.
Well, how about
not at all the cowboy, not at all.
I am told that dealing with the various government bureaucrats you had to work with was a nightmare.
I can show you. That is the permit of the central government and Ministry of Construction. That is the one permit of the government of Japan. It takes us over a year to be prepared and costs over $1 million.
$1 million to get a permit for one...
From Ministry of Construction, yes.
$1 million for one permit is nothing. This is the mother of all art projects. After 6 years, Christo will have manufactured 3,100 umbrellas at 11 factories.
Try more now. Try about 50 or 60 now.
Wind tested them to withstand 65-mile-an-hour gales and hired 1,000 people in California, 800 in Japan, to assemble and install the umbrellas. A $26 million venture, all from a Bulgarian raised under communism.
There's not any conception of spending $26 million. The project is built by normal corporations who pay taxes. We sell commodity. With that money, we build the project. We hire engineers, factories.
You don't mind the sound business management?
Not at all. Not at all.
Still, Christo insists this project is not commercial, that he funds it entirely from sales of these preparatory drawings at up to $365,000 apiece. He won't even sell the umbrellas, which will be destroyed and recycled afterwards.
The one umbrella cannot be sold because the work of art is not one umbrella.
It's
understand me? This is yes, this is the designed to be work of art. It's understandable. This is normal work of art. But one umbrella is not a work of art.
So it'd be like owning a 1-inch square piece of the Mona Lisa.
Yeah, but it's not anything. It don't mean anything, you know.
Future generations may have to decide whether this 3-week installation is art on a par with the Mona Lisa or just silly. To Christo, at least, it is nothing short of epic.
I am perfectly understand that many people think it's silly, many people think it's completely ridiculous, and I understand that the world can live perfectly with my project, without the running fence, without the valley curtain, without the surrounded island for the last 30 years. But I did this project, and they will remember, and they will remain in the mind of the people for quite a long time.
And we should mention that Christo is hardly resting on past laurels. Among his upcoming projects is an ambitious installation he's trying to put together here in New York City. It is called the Gates Project for Central Park, and it's been in the works since 1980. And as you can see from the artist's renderings, the project is exactly as described, a series of gates complete with flowing curtains. And when and if this future Christo is realized, it should get the attention of even the most jaded New Yorkers. Good Morning America continues.